Every player in Rise of Kingdoms should be spending down their action point bar, the action points that you're freely accumulating over time. But some things are definitely better than others when you go to spend your action points and will give you more speed ups, resources, and even a small amount of gems. So in this video, I'm going to cover the very best ways to spend your action points, whether you're new to the game and your account is very young, or you're in the end game and you're adjusting based on the recent changes we had to the way that Barb Forts works. This video will detail for you the new meta for spending action points. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today's video is sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms. And the reason I wanted to pick this topic was that I thought it was so important to help you learn the new best way to get as much value as you can with your action points, given that changes recently happened to the way that Barbarian Forts reward action point potions. And if you want to see my unfiltered opinion about those changes, I covered them extensively both on stream and in this video. Card will be up in the top. You can see that opinion there. The first thing I want to do is review exactly how Barbarian Fort rewards have changed and how this influences the sort of new meta for where you spend your action points. From there, I want to talk about what a growing account should do in the game if you're not yet at T5. And then I want to talk about what an end game account should do if you've already got your T5, you've done most of your research, if not all of it, and you're playing the Season of Conquest. And lastly, I'll cover who actually benefited by this recent change to Barbarian Forts and who ultimately got nerfed. But first, let's talk about what changed. The old meta was super weird. You could basically rally in home kingdom only. I'm in KVK right now. A level 5 Barbarian Fort, or even a level 4 or a level 3. You could do it with just the rally lead and one other person. That's a small amount of action points going toward that Barbarian Fort. And you would actually generate for your alliance more action points than were spent by virtue of these fort trophies. These fort trophies have a chance of dropping action point potions. So what you could do is have everyone in your alliance go and even open up your action point potions. Like the old meta was to spend as many action points as possible across as many people as possible, because for every Barb Fort you rallied, you went AP positive across your alliance. And as long as everybody in your alliance was doing this, you were making out like a freaking bandit. But this changed in the recent patch. Now there's a limit to 7,500 total AP worth of potions from these trophies per week. This is a big deal, and it influences where you should spend your action points. But this, by the way, was not the only change, because now Barbarian Forts themselves are dropping action point potions for the people that actually participated in the rally. So now more than ever, you are incentivized to rally Barbarian Forts, because you, as the participant in the rally, are much more likely to end up with some action point potions. This is really important to understand. So while before, the incentive to rally lots of Barb Forts is that you were kind of trusting that other people in your alliance were going to do the same thing. So if you were spending your potions, they're spending their potions, and everybody's a winner. Whereas now, you are directly rewarded for having launched that rally and participated in the rally, and there's no cap on the number of action points that you can get from here. So on a very practical level, what does this mean for a growing account, a new player in Rise of Kingdoms? What should you do? And I will say, actually, as a new player in the game, you're still working toward T5, you should just spend your action points on whatever you need. If it's Barbarians to get Arrows of Resistance, especially during an event like Lohar's Trial, you should do that, because if you need to level up your Watchtower, you need to level up your Watchtower. If you need to be rallying forts in order to get your Books of the Covenant so you can update your castle, then that's what you need to be doing. And in general, I actually think in the early game, you should just focus on playing events that are generally high reward for spending action points and time them with other things. For example, Eve of the Crusade, Stage 1, Marauders. Very, very, very high value. Great place to spend a lot of action points. If you're in KVK in the early game, you want to go battle a bunch of Barbs, that's reasonable. You're getting honor. Time it with some other event like Lohar's Trial. You're getting a bunch of rewards. Makes a lot of sense. Grow your account. Don't hoard your action points. You don't need to hoard them if you are a newer player to the game. Now, there is benefit for some number of people who want to go completely insane in a single KVK and get a top honor rank, which gives you a small reward. You could do that, but I think most people should just focus on steady growth to their account if you're in the early game. But if you're in the end game, okay, there's a couple things you need to think about. The first thing is that you should only spend your action points when you are in Kingdom versus Kingdom. The reason is that in Kingdom versus Kingdom, whether it's a barb or a barb fort, you are getting crystals. This is very important to understand. KVK Season 4 and beyond, Season of Conquest, you are getting crystals. Crystals are the most important optimization. There's literally nothing more important. Even on my account where I am whaling like crazy, the only way to accelerate my progress toward technology is with crystals. So the way you do that is through action points. That's the only thing you can really accelerate it with beyond maximum spending, which I already do. And even if you're not spending, I still strongly insist that KVK is the right place for your action point potions. But when you are in Home Kingdom, you should be rallying every single barb fort you can get your hands on with your open action points. Don't spend any action point potions. Now, more than ever, it's absolutely critical that you rally barbarian forts rather than battle barbarians in Home Kingdom, because some number of barb forts are going to give you back potions here, not just in the alliance gifts, but here, which means you can save even more action points for KVK and then get more crystals, which gives you a tech advantage. And if your whole kingdom is doing that, it makes a big difference. When each person is doing the minor actions that they know at an individual level is not all that big of a deal, but if a whole kingdom is doing it, it really changes the dynamic drastically. Now, you can spend your action points on barbs. That's still okay to do, but only under the following circumstances. If you don't have time for barb forts, okay, fine. You don't have time. Don't let your AP bar cap out, obviously. Like, go hit some barbs. That's fine. If you're AoE barb farming, this is still insanely high value. Go nuts. AoE barb farm to your heart's content. Technically, I think it is better to be like AoE barb farming with 1 march and joining fort rallies with 4 marches than it is to have all your marches joining fort rallies. AoE barb farming has been nerfed in the past, and it's still that dang good. I'll have a card up in the top explaining the entire process for that, but I'll also remind you of it at the end of the video. By the way, if you're getting value from this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I have over 1,700 videos dedicated to helping you get value in Rise of Kingdoms, and up until these recent changes to how action points worked, I had the most popular video for how to spend your action points. Also, this is a good moment for me to give a huge shout out to Tripod, who spent a bunch of time walking through some math, which I'll show you also at the end of this video. A little bit of the math behind why barb forts versus barbs and so on. But the last thing I just wanted to cover really quickly is that, sure, if you have some quests that require you to do barbs, like, yeah, go battle your barbs, obviously, right? I think I needed to say that, but since this is a video that'll live on the internet forever without my ability to explain it further, yes, you know, doing a bastion quest to smash some barbs, perfectly fine, obviously. In fact, you should be doing some number of barbs anyways for your crystal quest, which is going to require it for weekly challenges, for daily challenges. You get the idea. But otherwise, every single one of your action points spent should be on the barbarian forts. In fact, why don't I just show you a little bit of that math now? Thanks again to Tripod. You can see that a barb fort 11, this is just in your starting zone, okay? You get 12.1 crystal per action point spent, whereas a barb 41 or 44 or 46 even only gives you as much as 9.3 crystals per AP spent. So like I was saying, if you're going to AoE barb farm, okay, that's pretty good. You actually get a really good rate of return because for, you know, every amount of action points you spend, you get more than 1 barb. That's where AoE barb farming is really powerful. Otherwise, you just smash those forts. I personally find AoE barb farming to just be very mind-numbing. So with all that said, now that we have more information about how barbarian forts work, who were the biggest winners and biggest losers as a result of the recent changes to how action points work, And the biggest winners were very definitely the players that were in casual alliances. This is especially true for the people who were actively rallying barb forts already, because now not only are you going to get a bunch of action points over here, but you're going to very easily sail to your cap, which is 7,500 AP per week from those alliance trophies. You were already the one contributing the majority of the AP to that anyways, because you were the ones actively rallying the forts. So if you're in a casual alliance, and especially if you're one of the people who was rallying forts, you are actually a winner in this update, because you're going to end up with more AP than you would have otherwise, because the rest of your alliance, realistically, wasn't contributing all that much to your AP generation. The other big winner is players who are in moderately active alliances. And this is going to sound really weird, although you will gain less AP per week if you are only moderately exploiting the infinite AP barb hack for barbarian forts, and you were fighting against a kingdom who was endlessly exploiting it. You could be looking at a huge disadvantage in KVK. Allow me to explain. If you're in a moderately active alliance, and most players are in casual alliances or moderately active alliances, you're probably not getting more than like 15,000 AP per week, maybe, in a moderately active alliance. Whereas your enemies were probably pulling down 60,000 action points in potions per week in being in an insanely active alliance. Like insane. I am talking about insane. So the biggest losers of this update is the people who are actually insanely active. Not just the people, but the full alliances of insanely active people all day long popping potions and rallying barb forts. But good news for them, now they get some free time, because you should not be popping action point potions. It's no longer the way to be spending action point potions in Home Kingdom. You should just save those potions for KVK, and don't rally fort level 1, 2, or 3 anymore. It's not worth it. Barb fort level 4, you can do, but you probably should just stick to fort level 5s now. And you rally your fort level 5s in Home Kingdom, spend down your open AP. In KVK, go completely ham. You want to get those crystals. Crystals equals technology, which equals advantage. And as a kingdom, that's really strong. The last thing I'll add, courtesy of Tripod, is, what about Eve of the Crusade Stage 3, the Marauder Forts? This used to be the best time to go and just spend absolutely stupid amounts of action point potions rallying barbarian forts because of the infinite AP hack that you could go and do. Now you actually should not spend action point potions in Stage 3 of Eve of the Crusade. All of those action points should instead be spent in KVK. KVK is the time to use your action point potions. And in Stage 3, I mean, it's weird because that's now kind of a dead stage. Like, you can spend your action point potions, but you're wrong. You shouldn't be. So it's a little bit weird. Like, you absolutely should not spend action point potions in the Marauder stage of Eve of the Crusade. Instead, just spend your open AP, collect your free rewards, enter KVK with more potions saved up. That's where you spend the AP. If you found this video helpful, consider throwing a like on here and subscribing to the channel. If you wanted more detail about the different events like Eve of the Crusade Stage 1 and spending action points there and what some of the return on your action point spend is, I'll have a card up in the top for my old video, which no longer is accurate with regard to the best way to spend your action points. That's now available here. But if you just wanted some of the data about what you can expect to get for the action points you're spending, that would be reasonable to go check out. The very simple takeaway from this video is save your action points until you're in KVK, and then spend your action points. Ideally on barbarian forts, because now you get an AP kickback, and that AP kickback is really powerful. If you wanted more information about AoE barb farming, which is still really gangbuster, a video will show up over here in just a minute, giving you more information on exactly how to do that, and to even pull down, I got as much as a legendary material per day worth of materials doing it.